Blacks in technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.
Welcome, everybody, to the 15th episode of the Blacks in Technology audio podcast. I'm your host today. My name is Greg Greenlee, and today on the show we have a very special guest. We have Lisette. I don't want to mispronounce your last name. Is it Titre?
It's Titre, like the oil.
I'm sorry. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Lisette Titre. She is a computer animator. She's worked at EA. I think everyone is kind of familiar with EA if you're into gaming. She's been part of creating high-profile games such as Tiger Woods Golf for the Wii, Simpsons, Godfather 2, Dante's Inferno. She is a character modeler. She was also featured in Black Enterprise in the expose on women in STEM. She's graduated magna cum laude from Miami International University of Art and Design. She has a degree in computer animation. And she's also a member of the Blacks in Gaming. I think you're on the steering committee there, and also you are involved with the social media and networking coordination of Blacks in Gaming. Is that correct?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So we want to welcome Lisette to the show. Appreciate you being able to take time out of your day to talk with us here at Blacks in Technology. So kind of gave a brief introduction of what you do. So can you give us just a small introduction of where you're from, and then we'll get started on some of the not-so-serious questions.
Sure. So I grew up in Florida for the most part, from the ages of around 10 to 14, and then, or from 10 to 24, actually. And then when I was 24, I moved out to the Bay Area, specifically San Francisco, after my college degree to begin working in the animation and games side of art. So I began working in consoles in 2001. My first game was Freakstyle, which was made by EA, but I was actually in a company, which is a third-party developer who was hired to develop the title.
Okay.
So that was my first game. And then previously, I stayed at the company for about 3 years and focused mostly on sports titles. Then I left to work on a television show called Video Mods. That was around 2004, 2005. And that was a fun experience. We essentially took previously existing video game characters and applied mocap animation to them and made music videos out of it. And it was a series for MTV2. And I did that for one season. And then I started teaching at Expressions College, which is the art college here in the Bay. And then about a semester after that, I got contacted by EA. And then I got hired there, and I worked there for about 6 years. So I recently just left EA in March, and now I am a lead artist at a company in the Bay Area called Backbone Entertainment.
And
we do mostly downloadable titles for XBLA and PSN.
Okay. So let me ask you this: what exactly is a character modeler?
Well, a character model is not the only skills that I have, but my primary role has been in character modeler or for character artist. So I either create concept drawings or I take drawings for characters that need to be created for games, and I build the digital sculptures of them. I paint them so that the surface and the textures look right. And then I'm also responsible for making sure that there are skeletons that are built within them so they move properly and function properly for the game movements or animations.
And how did you get involved in game animation? What was your, introduction to animation? Was it a love for tech when you were young, or a love for games, or was it a love for art that led into games?
It was really a love for art. I was always going to be an artist. I just didn't know what capacity, and it kind of really blew my mind that they were able to do all these things in the computer.
Okay, so let me ask you this. So you say you had a love for art, and then that led into gaming. So let me. What's one of your most favorite projects that you worked on?
Let's see. I really enjoyed working on the Simpsons characters because that's a license or an intellectual property that I grew up with. You know, watching The Simpsons on a Sunday was just like a family tradition. So it was really great to work on those characters and imagine them in 3D and actually make them interactive. So I really enjoyed working on Simpsons. And actually, I also enjoyed working on the Tiger Woods series simply because he was a positive, protagonist, and he's a well-known athlete, and it was just a really positive, black image to have out there. So I actually enjoyed Tiger, and I learned a lot because that was a very complex game to create.
Nice. So what skills are needed to become a game animator? Do you have to have a strong background in math or computer programming?
Not from the artistic side. I mean, you do need to have some understanding because there's a lot of technical tools that you need to learn. But mostly when you're looking for, to hire, you're looking for skills. What you're looking for is artistic ability, someone who's able to draw, understand what they're seeing, and recreate it. That's mostly on the art side. Animators actually need to display a understanding of motion and movement and performance. So, each discipline and under the art umbrella has, specific skill sets that need to be highlighted. But it all comes down to being able to draw. If you can't draw, it's going to be very difficult for you to see things and recreate things in, a digital space.
How long does it take to develop a game from start to finish?
It depends on the complexity. Like an iPhone game could take weeks or months the most. If you're looking at a console title, the development cycle, depending on how many levels and characters, could vary. It could be as little as 6 to 9 months for something that's like a quick arcade title. But if you're looking at one of those big blockbusters that have 100 hours of gameplay, you're looking at maybe a year and a half to 2 years, or even longer, depending on how big and how deep the game goes. I mean, some games have taken 4 years to develop. So it depends on the scope of the project. But
now, I'm sorry, go ahead.
It's always very varied on the depth and complexity of what you're doing.
What was one of the most complex games you ever worked on?
Say the most complex, technically. I would probably say Tiger Woods because we have the customizable character system, which meant that all the pieces that needed to work together with each other. So if you wanted to pick your own shirt or your own pants, they all had to fit and look and animate properly. And so there's a lot of moving pieces that needed to work together for that.
Gotcha. How tightly interwoven is, I guess, the roles, I guess, the teams within creating a game? So, for instance, you're the animator. How closely do you work with, say, the coder?
That depends. Depends on the tools. If usually you're working in cross disciplines when you are trying to get your tools to work properly. So if you're an animator and for some reason your animation isn't showing up in game, then you need to go talk to the coder and have them try to figure out, what setting or what element is giving you an issue. So I think that all the teams do work very closely together because there's just an indeterminable amount of errors that happen when you're creating a game, things that you don't even see until it goes into testing. So there's a lot of synergy that needs to go on between each discipline. Gotcha.
When you were younger, was there a point in time where, your parents are like, oh, my God, she can really, really draw. We need to get her into, some type of school for the arts, or was it just a gradual process as you became older, you just kind of got into it?
It was more of a gradual process. I mean, it became something that I would like to do. If I was bored in church, I would be scribbling in the back of the Bible or something. And then growing older in class, that was what I would do to entertain myself. And it wasn't until I started going and considering what I was going to do in college that I said, I really want to do this for a career. How am I going to not be a starving artist? And this was definitely one of those answers. Taking on the technology challenges that go along with the art process definitely, significantly raises the amount of skill sets that you have. So I was able to support myself pretty well because I decided to do something that's so technical and artistic.
Okay. Are you a hardcore gamer? Would you consider yourself hardcore? Are you
no, I don't consider myself a hardcore gamer. I would consider myself more of a casual gamer.
Okay.
The games that I enjoy aren't like the FPS, like first-person shooters, shoot-'em-ups. I'm more of a, social gamer. I like having my friends over and everybody playing, Dance Central or having, things like Tiger. Tiger was a fun game for my family to play together. So things that aren't as competitive for me, I prefer. So I don't consider myself a hardcore gamer, but I do play games. It's just not something that I do it for a living, so I don't want to go home and do it for another 10 hours. That's kind of like there needs to be a break.
Gotcha. Sorry, that's my son in the background there.
Okay, I totally understand.
Are they ever going to bring back the one button, one joystick model from the Atari days? That's when I basically.
I think that they have. It's called the iPhone. There's no buttons, your finger.
Right.
And there's also the Kinect, where you don't even need any buttons. It's just you using your body. So I think that's where gaming is going. I think we're going to a more simplistic model of actually interacting with your games instead of just clicking 5,000 buttons.
That might actually get me to start playing games again because when they came out with the multi-button type games, that's when I basically lost all interest. I couldn't coordinate my thumbs well enough to be able to be good at any game, so I kind of gave it up.
And I think that makes a great point because that's where the industry is going. Where you're seeing growth right now is in the consoles with the very complex games that you're seeing are mobile. You're seeing the Kinect sell very well because it's very accessible because it's just movement-based. And the iPhone, once again, is a very popular platform in cell phones because it's just your finger. It's simple to pick up and understand. So I think we're kind of moving away from the super technical high graphics look to something that's more fun and engaging and easy entry into the game space.
Gotcha. So is that where we're in probably like, okay, so that's seems to be like the next few years. What do you see maybe in the next 10 years, the future of gaming?
You never know. It's kind of hard to predict because it's in flux so much. Even in the last 3 or 4 years, we've seen a major shift from console and games to being dominant to what you're now seeing are Facebook games are it's a real platform that's kind of taking over these social media games. And I think that trend is going to continue. People are always going to want to play with friends. That's how gaming started, when you were playing dominoes or Monopoly or chess with somebody who's in front of you, and I think that's not going to change. What I do think is maybe we'll move away from having to own a PS3 or Xbox 360, and everything's going to be in the cloud. You just kind of log on the internet, and everything you want is there. And maybe there's some sort of peripheral that could read your movement. Maybe not. Who knows? Maybe we'll get past that point, and we don't even need that. But, it's really hard to predict. The tech industry kind of always supersedes itself.
Do you see maybe like some type of holographic game console popping up anytime in the future, or is that something that doesn't seem likely?
I know that they're already out there. I mean, there are 3D TVs, and I've seen, prototypes of holographic games. It's just at what point does that become something someone wants? And at what point, the real issue is when does that become cost-effective so the average person could have it in their home?
True.
And that's usually the big barrier is what is the cost of entry. You know, I don't think too many people are going to plop down $5,000 for a hologram system.
True. Very true. So you're involved with the Blacks in Gaming site. What is your level of involvement, and how long have you been involved with them?
I've been involved in Blacks in Gaming for a little over a year now, and my major focus has been networking. That means mostly bringing industry professionals into the group and just throwing a monthly social group here in the Bay Area. And we also have those around in a few of our chapters. We have an LA chapter that meets once a month. And we also get together for the large business conferences. But we're really trying to start pulling in these industry experts so we can actually start doing outreach and mentoring, which means reaching out into the community for, you know, middle school, high school kids who want to start a career in computer science and STEM technology. That's really where the group is going, simply because there's a huge need for it, and I think that gaming is a really good entryway into the STEM curriculum.
Yeah, mainly a big reason, in my opinion, is because we're already pretty familiar, you know, with the gaming consoles and with gaming as a whole. So going into that field, it seems like a next step for some people, and maybe it just takes, you know, someone like you and an organization like Blacks in Gaming to kind of help usher in that new generation.
Right. I mean, I think that it's not, the main goal isn't necessarily to get these kids into gaming, even though that would be great for the industry, but it's really to get African Americans and minority children into technology, period, because that's where, and the future is information. It's not the factory jobs. Those are gone and they're not coming back. And if we don't get our kids into science, technology, engineering, and math fields, we're going to be very far left behind.
I definitely
and that's just
agree.
the easy way for them to be introduced into some of those concepts.
I definitely agree with that. I definitely want to congratulate you on your feature in the Black Enterprise magazine. It was definitely a good article that they put together there. I want to go through a real quick kind of like speed type of question to answer, if you don't mind, if you have a little bit more time.
Sure.
Okay. So pretty much what I'm going to do is I'm just going to call out, a question, and you give me the immediate answer, I guess. So, sure. iOS or Android?
Android.
Okay. Xbox or PlayStation?
Xbox.
Really? DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Good answer. Chocolate or vanilla?
Chocolate.
Michael Jordan or Kobe Bryant? I don't know if you're a basketball fan.
Jordan.
Jordan, all right. Simpsons or Family Guy?
Simpsons.
Simpsons? Have you watched the show Archer?
The show The Archer? No, I have not.
No, it's called Archer. If you like Simpsons or Family Guy, look up Archer. It's along those. Yeah, it's pretty funny. It's a pretty funny animated show. Let's can you give us the URLs? I know you have your own personal website and the Blacks in Gaming website, and any other URLs or Twitter names or anything like that for our listeners out there who might want to.
Sure. My personal website is www.LisetteTitre, LISETTE, T as in Tom, ITRE.com. That's my full name. And my Twitter handle is @Zet16. That's Z as in zebra, ETTE16. And Blacks in Gaming, we're mostly organized on Facebook. So
Okay.
if you look for Blacks in Gaming, 3 words, you'll find a group, and you're more than welcome to join and join in on the conversation and information that I share and many of our other users share. Let's see, any other plugs that I have? I'm currently working on a title for Konami called Zombie Apocalypse 2. That was just announced at E3 in April or May. So I'm actually wrapping that up. That's why it's been so hard to get me on the phone, because I'm constantly putting out fires for that. But that's what's going on right now for me.
Okay. Well, Lisette, I want to thank you for taking the time out again, and I know it's been kind of difficult with scheduling, but I'm glad we finally were able to get you on. And it's just real quick, I want to thank Kai Dupuy. Kai is actually the person that turned me on to you, so I want to thank him for making that connection there. And I always like to extend an invitation for people to join the Blacks in Technology website. I don't know if you visited before, but I definitely want to extend that invitation out to you. It's free to join. We have over close to 350 members, worldwide, ranging from website developers to IT directors to security specialists, networking specialists, and things like that. So if you feel like you might want to join, just go ahead and join up. We can always use your expertise and your point of view on some of the subject matters that we talk about on the site. So again, I want to thank you for coming on the podcast.
Okay, great.
Great. And I hope, wish you well in the future, and maybe we'll get you on the podcast again in the future.
For sure. And thanks for your listeners for going through my technobabble.
No problem. Glad to have you.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care.
Bye.
Blacks in Technology.
Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology. Blacks in technology.